Hello, journeymen, journeywomen. This is a hero's journey with Dr. D, the podcast. This podcast was designed to inspire, to encourage, to educate, and to motivate, helping you get beyond your first move and creating a better mindset today. Now, for an entertaining video version of this episode, along with many more at my YouTube series, go to a hero's journey with drd.com. Now, let's begin. Hey, this week we're going to address the amygdala. The amygdala being hijacked. Yes, we talk about emotional intelligence, and this is the third part of our series. The first week we talked about self-awareness, the second, self-management. But how can you manage your emotion when your amygdala is being hijacked? Well, today we're going to address amygdala hijack. And we're going to give you a couple of points on how to deal with your emotional state once it's hijacked, so you can come down and so you can be safe and stable. Enjoy the video. Hi, for those who are clicking in on the first time, this is a Hero's Journey with Dr. D, here to encourage, to inspire, to motivate, and educate, helping you get beyond your first move and creating a better mindset today. If you find any value in this content, go ahead. Help me help you so we can help others by liking, by clicking the thumbs up and sharing. What you do is you join with me and climb with me as we try to make a better tomorrow today. And currently what we do, we upload a fresh video every week, once a week, and we do a live stream on Wednesdays and a replay with a live chat on Thursday. And also you can click down below and we cover all the major podcasts, and click the link and find your podcast so you can listen while you drive to and from work. Now enjoy the video. The amygdala is a collection of cells near the base of the brain. There are two, one in each hemisphere or side of the brain. This is where emotions are given meaning, remembered, and attached to associations and response to them. In other words, the emotional memories. First, let's talk about the principles of the hijack. This is what happens. What happens with the amygdala, it's a small almond-shaped piece, like behind your ear. You have two of them. And what happens is that you have five senses. And we all know we have five senses. You got your sight, your hearing, your touch, the feeling. You know, the five senses. And when you receive a message that comes through your senses, it goes to the thalamus. The thalamus is the control center of your brain. And what happens is that the thalamus makes out two reports when you receive a message. Now the message, there's two reports. One report goes to your amygdala. It's a short, brief, and direct report. And a more detailed report goes to your prefrontal cortex, which is the executive, rational thinking part of your brain. But how it gets hijacked is, because that's what gets hijacked. The rational, the cognitive, the executive function, the things that you do, things logically, that gets hijacked. It gets hijacked by the amygdala. The amygdala is the processing center. It's the messenger that sends messages all throughout the brains, because it's the brain's alarm system. Back in prehistoric days, you need the alarm system because a tiger may come out at you, or a lion may come at you. So you had to fight or fright. And it just come to recent education has shown us recently that it's not just two, it's three. It's fight, fright, and freeze. Just like the deer in the headlights gets froze. This is what happens when the amygdala sends a message. It sends a message to the prefrontal cortex trying to say, this is what's happening and this is what I'm going to do. Because it kind of takes charge of the whole situation. It sees something in the eye sockets, in the eye sensories, and it says, okay, it's an emergency. We got to do something about it. So it sends a message. So it receives a message to the executive order. They're trying to pull things together, trying to process it. But what happens? It keeps on sending messages. So it hijacks the processing element in the prefrontal cortex. So it hijacks it so much where it kind of drains the blood. It consumes more blood, and how it consumes the blood is that it hijacks the prefrontal cortex with messaging, and it's just bombarded, so it doesn't have time to process the thoughts in effective time. But then also it sends messages to the automatic nervous system. Say, listen, man, we got problems. We need to get up on guards. So the automatic nervous system sends messages to the major muscle groups. So the blood is drained from majority of the brain, and it's going toward the areas that need it the most. The muscles, because it's fight or flight. So everything is built up enormously for a specific time, because this is the moment of truth. It's better be safe than sorry. That's the terminology of the amygdala. Better be safe than sorry. We're gonna protect at all means. So I'm pulling out the guns. And I'm putting all my energies, my oxygen, my blood. And we have about 9 pints of blood. So majority of that goes toward the major muscle groups. So if it's going toward there, then our mind is kind of foggy because it's lacking oxygen. So it's kind of difficult to process. It's very difficult to process, which causes the rage or the just going outside your mind because you can't process what's going on. So what happens that it goes in that area, and then it takes over the hormonal areas, which causes an overflow of cortisol, which in effect causes depression, because the amygdala overloads the prefrontal cortex. And because the first part of emotional intelligence is that you need to be aware. It triggers. The goal is to learn your triggers. If you learn your triggers, then you can do some things that can assist you from going off the ledge, so to speak. So that's pretty much how the amygdala works. It's the messenger sends. It sends more messages than any other structure within the brain. And it hijacks the prefrontal cortex, the intelligent part, the rational part. So you don't even have the opportunity to become rational. Now, these are the 6 things that I was going to tell you coming up next about how do you stop the amygdala from being hijacked. These are 6 things that you can do that can stop the hijacking of your amygdala. The first thing, stop and breathe. Yeah. Second thing, be aware of your mind and your body, or bring awareness to it. Third thing, accept it and acknowledge it. Fourth thing, realize that it's only temporary. Fifth, investigate the source. Sixth thing, decide on how you're going to respond. These are important things that you can take into practice right now. Now, if you would like a little bit more in detail, in depth about each 6 step, click up to my right or my left. If it's not there today, it'll be there tomorrow. I will continue on briefly about the processes in between 1 and 6 about stopping the hijacking of your amygdala. Now, if you find any value in this content, please don't hesitate. Help me help you so we can help others. See, by clicking subscribe, sharing, and giving a thumbs up, what you do is you join with me. You come and connect with me and help me make a better tomorrow, today. So, if you don't remember anything from the video, remember this thing, that you're important. I think so, God thinks so, and that every day you wake up vertical. Make it your goal in life to always move forward and never move back. This is the Hero's Journey with Dr. D. Peace and blessings, and out! The amygdala is a collection of cells near the base of the brain. There are 2, one in each hemisphere, or side of the brain. This is where emotions are given meaning, remembered, and attached to associations and response to them. In other words, the emotional memories.
First, let's talk about the principles of the hijack. This is what happens. What happens with the amygdala, it's a small almond-shaped piece, like behind your ear. You have two of them. And what happens is that you have five senses. And we all know we have five senses. You got your sight, your hearing, your touch, the feeling. In the five senses. And when you receive a message that comes through your senses, it goes to the thalamus. The thalamus is the control center of your brain. And what happens is that the thalamus makes out two reports when you receive a message. Now the message, there's two reports. One report goes to your amygdala. It's a short, brief, and direct report. And a more detailed report goes to your prefrontal cortex, which is the executive, rational thinking part of your brain. But how it gets hijacked is, because that's what gets hijacked. The rational, the cognitive, the executive function, the things that you do things logically, that gets hijacked. It gets hijacked by the amygdala. The amygdala is the processing center. It's the messenger that sends messages all throughout the brains because it's the brain's alarm system. Back in prehistoric days, you need the alarm system because a tiger may come out at you or a lion may come at you. So you had to fight or fright. And just come to recent education has shown us recently that it's not just two, it's three. It's fight, fright, and freeze. Just like the deer in the headlights gets froze. This is what happens when the amygdala sends a message. It sends a message to the prefrontal cortex trying to say this is what's happening and this is what I'm going to do. Because it kind of takes charge of the whole situation. It sees something in the eye sockets, in the eye sensories, and it says, okay, it's an emergency. We got to do something about it. So it sends a message. So it receives a message to the executive order. They're trying to pull things together, trying to process it. But what happens? It keeps on sending messages. So it hijacks the processing element in the prefrontal cortex. So it hijacks it so much where it kind of drains the blood. It consumes more blood, and how it consumes the blood is that it hijacks the prefrontal cortex with messaging, and it's just bombarded, so it doesn't have time to process the thoughts in effective time. But then also it sends messages to the automatic nervous system. Say, listen, man, we got problems. We need to get up on guards. So the automatic nervous system sends messages to the major muscle groups. So the blood is drained from majority of the brain and is going toward the areas that need it the most. The muscles, because it's fight or flight. So everything is built up enormously for a specific time because this is the moment of truth. It's better be safe than sorry. That's the terminology of the amygdala. Better be safe than sorry. We're gonna protect at all means. So I'm pulling out the guns. And I'm putting all my energies, my oxygen, my blood. And we have about 9 pints of blood. So majority of that goes toward the major muscle groups. So if it's going toward there, then our mind is kind of foggy because it's lacking oxygen. So it's kind of difficult to process. It's very difficult to process, which causes the rage or the just going outside your mind because you can't process what's going on. So what happens is that it goes in that area and then it takes over the hormonal areas, which causes an overflow of cortisol, which in effect causes depression because the amygdala overloads the prefrontal cortex. And because the first part of emotional intelligence is that you need to be aware. It triggers. The goal is to learn your triggers. If you learn your triggers, then you can do some things that can assist you from going off the ledge, so to speak. So that's pretty much how the amygdala works. It's the messenger sends. It sends more messages than any other structure within the brain. And it hijacks the prefrontal cortex, the intelligent part, the rational part. So you don't even have the opportunity to become rational. Now, these are the 6 things that I was going to tell you coming up next about how do you stop the amygdala from being hijacked. These are 6 things that you can do that can stop the hijacking of your amygdala. The first thing, stop and breathe. Yeah. Second thing, be aware of your mind and your body, or bring awareness to it. Third thing, accept it and acknowledge it. Fourth thing, realize that it's only temporary. Fifth, investigate the source. Sixth thing, decide on how you're going to respond. These are important things that you can take into practice right now. The first way that you can prevent the hijacking of the amygdala is stop and breathe. We talked about this on the previous video, but we didn't go in depth. What I mean by stop, I really mean stop and breathe. The Navy SEALs has a practice that they use 4-7-8 rule, meaning that you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold it for 7 seconds, and you exhale for 8 seconds. Not only does it help prevent the hijacking of the amygdala, it actually lowers the blood pressure as well. So when you are getting frustrated or about to hit the roof, try to stop it. The second way to stop or prevent an amygdala hijack is by being aware of what's going on in your mind and your body. What I mean is that sometimes we just let the thoughts just flow in and flow out and do not ever take inventory about what's going on. First of all, the first rule of emotional intelligence is being self-aware. Every rule builds on another. So if you're not aware of what's going on, it's kind of difficult to be in control of it. So therefore you need to be aware of what's going through your mind. Take inventory, take a pause. That's what the breathing does. Helps you take a pause, pull back from the situation. Sometimes you need to walk away. If you're heightened to that extent, you need to walk away. Collect yourself. Because what the breathing does, it resets your brain. It boosts oxygen within your prefrontal cortex. Because what has happened before, as I spoke in a previous video, is that the blood has been pulled from that area. So you need to take a deep breath so you can boost some air into your brain. Then you can actually think about what's going on here. What's the thoughts that are flowing through your mind? And not only do you think about what's the thoughts that's flowing through your mind, but is my chest getting tight? Is my hands sweating, or what's happening physically with me? Being aware, not just your environment, but your internal environment. You have to be aware of yourself. So first, you have to be aware. You stop and breathe. Then you be aware of what's going through your mind and how your body's reacting to the stimuli that's coming through your 5 senses. Thirdly, accept it and acknowledge it. That's right, name it. It's been said, there's a term that's been stated previously, if you can name it, you can tame it. A lot of people are going through certain things in their mind, within their relationships, and they can't name it at all. So you have to name it, acknowledge it, accept it. It can be frustration. You can be sad. You can just be fear. You can be afraid of something. But sometimes we are in the midst of an emotional crisis, and we don't take time to reflect or to stop and breathe and to focus on what's coming through our mind or what are we feeling physically. And if we're not taking these steps, then we can't name it because we're hijacked. And the goal is not to be hijacked. So accept it. Own it. If you're frustrated, something triggers you, and you need to walk away, walk away. Collect yourself. Come back to it. But accept it and acknowledge. that at this time, for whatever reason, you have been triggered. Anger. Somebody said something, it made you think about your grandmother that died and that you're really close to. So maybe you have to remove yourself from the situation. Somebody says a coined phrase reminds you of your late uncle. Somebody may do something to remind you of the bully that tormented you all through middle school, and you've been wanting to get them back. So they triggered you, and you projecting your energies to that person instead of to the bully back in the day. But you have to accept it. First, you have to accept it and acknowledge what the emotion is. Sadness, fear, rage. What is it? Acknowledge it, name it, so you can tame it. Fourthly, realize that it's just temporary, y'all. It's just temporary. Don't fly off the hinges. Don't lose the barn or the house. Don't trash the car because it's just temporary. This too shall pass. It'll just be a messed up thing if you lose your cool in the midst of a business meeting that you totally depend on to secure your employment, which pays your bills and feeds your kids. But you just lost it because you didn't know how to be aware of the triggers that cause you to lose it and have bad reflections on what happened and why it shouldn't have. So just realize that it's just temporary. The fifth way you can prevent the hijacking of the amygdala is investigate the source. If you know going down 2nd Street every day at 3 o'clock is going to trigger something, but you just don't know why, if you investigate the source, you realize, until you investigate the source, don't go down 2nd Street because it's going to trigger something, because that's part of the first 2 phases. You're being aware what's happening to you physically and what's going through your mind mentally when you cross that street. Because the first step, you stop and breathe. The second step, you're more aware of what's coming through your head. You may see something, it may trigger something, and it may trigger something in your mind, and you may feel a certain way. So you say, okay, I'm gonna hold off on that. And thirdly, then you accept it. I feel fear. And fourthly, you realize it's only temporary because about 2 minutes I'll be past the street. But fifthly, investigate. You can investigate online. You don't have to go down that street to cause yourself to have an anxiety attack. That's just not wisdom. But investigate the source, what's triggering your emotions to go haywire. And sixth and finally, decide on what you're going to do about it. Decide on your response. 99% of what happens to us in this life is not based on what people do to us, what environment we was raised up in, or even our genetic predisposition. It's based on how you respond to any given situation, any given day. That's on you. It's on you to control. You can't control your external, but you control your internal and how you respond to the things that are coming to you. So that is the 6th way that you could immediately prevent the hijacking of your amygdala. Hey, journeymen, journeywomen, you've just heard the episode of how to control emotions. Now we're about to slide into the recap, the update, and the question and answer session pertaining to the show and much more. Relax and enjoy. Hey, journeyman, journeywomen, this is the Hero's Journey with Dr. D, here to encourage, to inspire, to motivate, and to educate, helping you get beyond your first move. If you find any value in this content, go ahead. Help me help you so we can help others by clicking subscribing and like and sharing and sharing and sharing. What you do is you climb with me, you join with me, you connect with me so we can make it better tomorrow, today. All right. Creating a better mindset today as well. So this is what we do tonight. So you know what it is. It is Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And today we do the recap, the update, and the Q&A. So let me open up my chat right now. So if people are on, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. If you're on and you have issues with me and mean that you can't hear me, let me know as well. Send me a text or send me something in my in the chat section. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat box at this current time. And seeing that we don't have any no audio messages, I will not be playing the audio messages or questions to answer on the air. I'll go right into it. Okay. All right. This week's video was talking about. This week's video was talking about how to prevent the hijacking of the amygdala. How to prevent the hijacking of the amygdala. And we talked in depth about it. And actually, I did 2 videos. I gave 6 steps on how to prevent the hijack. I gave an ending, 6 pointers, and then I followed up with another video giving in depth the reasonings of each step and how they can be applied so you can get instant relief when you're feeling frustrated amongst a hijack episode that's trying to come on the rise. So the goal is to help everybody get beyond their first move, and sometimes that move is harder than the first, harder than the next. Some people can't get over that hump because it keeps them petrified and actually stuck in the mud, and they can't move, and they can't move forward to get anywhere else and get to their destination. The goal is to get to the destination. It's no fun staying still where you could be moving and shaking. So I explained in depth the 6 steps and how you can try to stop with it. So the amygdala. Let's get a brief overview. This is the recap right now, and the recap we're talking about the amygdala. The amygdala is actually it's about an almond shape structure within the brain. It's about 1 neuron away from the thalamus, and the thalamus actually is the control center which the incoming messages come through the 5 senses. So when they come through the 5 senses, what happens is that something is affected. If you are affected, meaning that if there's any sense of alarm or danger, then the alarm system, which is the amygdala, the alarm system of the brain, it beep 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 beep. It just goes off. It goes off, but it goes off because it received the message before the prefrontal cortex, which is the executive center of the brain, which houses all the rational content and allows everything to you analyze everything, your detail, your specific. So the question is, Dr. D, so why is the information not getting to the prefrontal cortex? Because it takes a little more detail to get there, because when you present something to corporate America, you have to package it in a specific way. So let's use this imagery when you're talking about the executive center. Hence the word executive. It's the biggest parts of our brain, which calls rational, logical. Everything is analytical in that area. So it takes a little while longer to present it and to get it to the prefrontal cortex, so a rationale can be developed. But it doesn't take any time at all for the amygdala. It goes right to the amygdala, and then it responds. Now the key assignment that the amygdala has is that it connects to every part, every structure the messenger. It's the messenger for the brain. So what happens is it sends messages. It says, hey, I think we got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. So we have a problem. It tells everybody, it tells the whole body, hey, y'all need to wake up because it's supposed to be on and popping. Oh, yeah. And it could just been a butterfly, but the amygdala thought it was a snake. So it freaks out because the butterfly happened to be the same color pattern of the snake. So the eyes get it and they freak out and they don't rationally think out the process. And then it sends messages to the prefrontal cortex and say, yo, okay, hey, it's just sending messages and saying, hey, we gotta get it, we gotta get it popping. We have to get it on because we are in imminent danger. See, back in the prehistorical days, you got tigers and lions. I mean, what was happening is that the amygdala was there because, you was actually, it's fight or fright. Now, you hear that, you say, Dr. D, you made a mistake. Oh, no. I chose to go with the behavior versus the action. So you can argue the point that fright is behavior, and you run because you're scared, or you fight because you're scared. It's a baseline for either direction. Fight or flight, or fight or fright. What happens with the issue with the fright is that the fright is so petrifying that the amygdala sends messages throughout the whole system. First, it's bombarding messages to the prefrontal cortex so much, whereas it's overload, and that's when the hijack is taking place. It's taking over the cockpit, and so much where it's draining the blood is actually being drained from that compartment because the amygdala said, telling the automatic nervous systems, listen, y'all, get the extremities together because we have to go to battle. So all the blood is being, majority, you really have like 9 pints of blood is coming from my system. All the blood is coming from my body. It's coming from my brain and it's going to our guns and it's going to our legs. We have to run, we have to fight because it's imminent danger. So we're fighting for our life. Get that sudden burst of energy so we can fight and extend ourselves. Automatic nervous system sends messages to the major muscle groups, and not only that, the amygdala sends messages to the hormonal capacities within our system, which it causes an increase in cortisol, which in effect can cause depression. That's right. So it's very important to prevent the hijack. And now I explained 6 steps about the prevention of the hijack. You have to stop and breathe. You have to stop and breathe. You have to be aware of. You have to be aware of your thoughts, and you have to be aware of if your heart's palpitating, or your hands are sweating, or your teeth are gritting. You have to be aware of that. I have 3 other steps. You have 3 other steps. You have to be aware. You have to be aware of where you are. You have to realize that it's only temporary. The 3rd step, you have to accept it. You have to accept it and name it. Name it to tame it. Okay, I'm frustrated. Oh, I'm mad. I can't handle the situation right now. I need to walk out. Collect myself, work with my deep breathing. Stop and breathe. Okay, I got it. Do you realize that it's only temporary? You realize it's only temporary. And then the 5th thing you need to do is to investigate the source. What is the source? What's the source of this frustration, this anger, this hostility? What triggered this thing to happen? Then you get a response. But the key area is you have to stop and breathe so it can get a certain gust of oxygen to your brain to reboot yourself. So you can be aware of your current situation. Yeah, that's right. Be aware of your current situation. A lot of people are not aware at all. So that's my recap because I pretty much did 2 videos. So I encourage everybody else to go back and look at the 2 videos. And also tonight I will be combining the videos with this online session. Oh, no. I'll do that tomorrow at the replay. I'll be combining and then I'll be putting it on the podcast. A Hero's Journey with Dr. D, the podcast. That will be out tomorrow night after the replay of this live broadcast. So that was the recap. Secondly, the update. The next thing I will be talking about in emotional intelligence I will be talking about social awareness. First it was self-awareness. Now it's social awareness. That's the update. Social awareness. The third part of emotional intelligence, the diagram that I'm utilizing for tenets of social intelligence. Now, what time is it? It's Q&A. So I send Phil a link. Anybody else need a link? So I can send it to him. I'll put it in the chat section. Need a link, and you can come on board and ask questions about it. I'm in the chat right now, so start putting your chats up right now. So any questions? Q&A. Questions. I am waiting. Let me cut some music on to your questions come on. Da-da. Oh, you just messed up my groove. All right, here we go down. All right. Okay, we got a question. Phil. All right, Phil, did you get the link? I will. I'm going down the road on my chat section. All right, first question. What if I cannot change my surroundings? Well, you may not change your external, but you can change your internal. Because sometimes that's not a plausible solution. It's not a viable solution because some people can't change it. Look at the individuals that are locked doing a life sentence for 20, 30 years. They can't change their surroundings, but they can change their internal state. You don't have to stay in the location just because you're in the location. Mind is a terrible thing to waste. All right. They go to the next one. But you said, what if I cannot change my surroundings? I can change my surroundings or the people around me. You can't change people around you anyway. Don't try to change people around you. You can't change people around you, and sometimes you can't change surroundings. Sometimes you can. If it's within your means, you can change your location, your surroundings, and it all starts with you. What you choose to do, it can be done. It may not be done at the rate that you choose for it to be done at. However, it can be done in increments. Inch by inch is a cinch. Remember, the turtle beat the hare, not because he was faster than the hare, but he had more persistence and he did not stop. He kept on going when the hare had narcissistic behavior patterns. All right, let me go to the next one. What I cannot change? Okay. What if I cannot change my surroundings, such as the kids? You have to, Philip, maybe you need to come on and explain that one, but I will do my best until you should have your link. Or the people around me. He said, what if I cannot change my surroundings or the people around me? And then you said, people such as the kids. You affect the kids with your examples. If the kids are in your household, you affected by discipline by running your house and being a model that they can imitate, a positive model, even when they don't see, because it's not about what they see. It's a lot of times about what they don't see, that they emulate, and you're surprised that they figured out that the real you was the man in the dark. All right, let's go to the next. What you say? Can I put the link on here? Okay, I got you. Invite guests. Okay, link. I put the link on the chat section. If anybody want to come on? All right. Okay, got the link. Such as kids. Let's go further down. All right. Let's go further down. Any more questions? Philip. All right. Let me see. Da da da. Rain up in the sky, stormy weather. I don't know why. There's a rain up in the sky. What if I cannot change my surroundings? Or the people around me? I guess that's a misspelled word. How do the kids, for example, I cannot throw them out the house. If they're not your kids, you can. Yes, you can. All right. I heard my person tell me, okay, and I can come. Here we go. All right. The man in black, because I don't see anything. Philip, I can't hear you, but I brought you in and it's just a black screen. All right. I put my music on until you come on. Any more questions for anybody else? Any more questions? I don't know why. Is the rain up in the sky? Stormy weather. Ooh. Oh. All right. Everybody see the link underneath? The link underneath is the link that you can click on. And it may ask you to register a little bit, put your email in, and you can come on and you can have your say so. You can ask a question and you can comment. And we welcome all people to come on and connect. All right. All right. Start each day. You on?
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Hear you and see you.
Okay. What I meant by the kids and surroundings and stuff like that. Can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly. Repeat.
Okay. Actually, I have two questions. One, I have a friend, and my friend, of course, he's divorced, and he wants to have a 9-hour conversation about.
You broke up.
Wife.
He said he want to have a 9-hour.
And I kind of want to tell him discussion about his ex-wife.
Okay.
How do you tell him to move on? You're divorced now. Move on.
Move on. Get her back.
No, move on. She took everything she could. The kids too.
So what's the discussion? What's the concept? The general topic of the discussions?
Well, what can I do to do this and that and blah blah blah? I'm like, dude, we still having this. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm listening to you, But at the same time, I damn near want to tell you, okay, ain't it time for you to be a bachelor again? So the question that becomes, when you have friends and family who kind of, they're in a situation and you kind of like want them to get out of that.
When they're in the situation and you want them to get out of it.
I mean, they out of the situation. Wait, okay, let me go back. I know I'm talking like I'm drunk.
I didn't say
they're in the situation. They want to have a conversation about all of this stuff.
Okay. You broke up.
How do I tell them?
You want to? Okay, this is what I heard. They're in a situation. They want to have a conversation about the situation, and how do I tell them? That's what I heard.
Right. I want to tell them, dude, you divorced now. You divorced. Why are you still talking about the kids and all this other stuff? And that's not your situation no more.
PTSD. Post-traumatic.
And it annoys the hell out of me because I'm talking about it.
Oh, tell him go therapy. Because he's out of the situation physically, mentally he's not. He's still there. But mentally he's not. He's stuck.
Okay.
And he needs to get professional help. I mean, not because he's crazy, it's because, I mean, divorce is a very detrimental situation. You know, the thing, divorce comes from the root word of defect. A defect, leading things to die. So death is a form of death. But you're walking around and you still got breath. I actually know an individual that he said he really could have fought harder for his marriage because his wife is still his best friend. They had a son together, and he's still all right with her. He said he should have fought a little harder. He said, but when the divorce papers was cleared, his kidney gave away. It's like a part of him died, literally and metaphorically. But because it does something to you. You invest, you connect with the individual. It does. So he really needs to get some professional help. And that's not because he's crazy. We all need to have somebody to release to and try to get some type of emotional healing, which in turn, that's why he's probably his amygdala is being hijacked every day, especially every time he calls you. Yeah. He needs help.
Okay, now I have another question for me.
Yeah.
Situation.
Uh-huh.
You hear that? You hear me?
Yeah, I see.
Okay. How do we deal with parents? Okay, I'm always talking about bad situations and this and that. But I'm like, okay, some of us are taking care of older parents, and mom or dad might be, they're older and they kind of like grumpy about stuff, or they're settled in their ways and they won't do certain things.
Right.
And so it takes a toll on you because you're trying to, you're always trying to get them to do the right thing. Mom, you need to take your medicine. Mom, you don't need to do that. And that it takes a toll on you. But that's one of those examples of, I can't walk away from this. My mother's calling me. I got to answer her. Because if I don't, she's going to keep calling.
You can put on mute. Can you put on mute?
How do you handle stuff like that? Put what on mute?
Hey, she keep calling. Just put the phone on mute. You could call. Okay.
Okay, so she can make the situation harder than what it is?
No, you pretty much you explain the situation, you tell your mother how it's going to be, and you got to stick to your guns. Now, the issues with people that's close to you is that we generally don't stick to our guns because it pulls on our heartstrings, and we have a sense of guilt. So we're not battling with them; we're battling with ourselves. Did that answer your question? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
But I mean, so are you saying situations are different when it comes to putting things? What am I saying? Releasing things. Like you use the example of it. Every time you go down the street every day, you have it triggers certain emotions. I can't put mom or pop on the back burner.
Yeah, but you can't deal with that situation if you don't know how to deal with yourself. You have to take the first step to deal with yourself. So when you come to that situation again, now you know, all right, I got this now. Stop. Take a deep breath. 4, 7, 8. I mean to reset myself so I can rationally think. And then you have to be aware of what your trigger is. A lot of times we just go off half cocked, and we consistently go off half cocked because we don't take time to evaluate what triggers us. So if you know mama started talking about money that triggers you, then you say, "Oh, well, mom, I gotta go right now. I'll call you back," because you know when it's about to come. But she talk about cousin JoJo, it's okay, I can talk about this because you have to understand what the triggers. It may be a word, it may be a smell, it may be a feeling, it may be anything that connects to any of the 5 senses and may trigger you somewhere. And you know, every time you hear that word, you go a certain place. Every time you smell that odor, you go a certain place in your mind. So you say, okay, I feel this odor coming. I need to walk away. I hear these words coming. I heard it. First time is the warning, then you walk away from it. Pull yourself in, and then you know how to cope with it. Until you build some type of coping muscles, you know. Because even the breathing thing is not an easy thing if you're not accustomed to doing it. The only thing that's generally easy is the stuff that you do all the time, unconsciously. Now, when you have to put effort to anything, it's even the simple things. Have you ever talked to individuals that's close to you, say, "Have you drunk your water today?" And they know they need the water. They know they need the water, but they don't do it. They just forget. And it frustrates you because you know they need the water that's the issue. So you know you gotta revamp, come a different direction. You know. That answer your question?
I think you kind of need to do a series on how to handle parents separately.
Beat them like they beat you. Beat them. No. I was just playing. So anybody think I'm serious?
I can't against stuff like that. It's laws against stuff like that. I can't do it.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like you had some hesitation there. All right. Mendez brother.
Well, not only those, but you know, she got a bunch of grandbabies. They wouldn't be too happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they jump you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and they're strong. There's some strong 20 and 30-year-olds, you know. They're strong.
Oh yeah, they're young and vibrant, viral. Yep. I mean, but you just have to deal with that accordingly. I mean, you have to avoid. When I say you avoid the street until you build up the coping mechanism, the technique to deal with the situation. And the reason why you walk away from it because you know It's only a couple of minutes. It won't take that long. You just need to pull back because like I said, in the one of 6 steps or 6 ways that it's only temporary. See, why would you let a temporary situation cause you elongated harm internally, which is producing an ulcer, then cancerous tumor? So it's better to get control of yourself before everything else controls you. Did I answer your question?
I think so, but I still want you to do that series on parents.
Okay. The series on parents.
Yes.
I don't like that video.
So let's take a step back and talk about this series. Okay. How did you come up with this idea to talk about the brain and what is that called? I forgot that fast.
Amygdala.
The area of the brain. Okay, how did that happen?
Well, I'm in the vein of a.
And what was your goal What was your goal or objective? What did you want us to take away from it?
You could prevent your hijacking. You don't have to go off shell because somebody said a word or did the wrong thing or bought the wrong thing from the grocery store. You don't have to go shell. You have techniques to help you to not to become, not to go shell and have a sustained emotional pouting fest for days. But you got to practice it. You have to practice doing it. Yeah, like that. you got to pull yourself back so that you can prevent yourself, your amygdala, from being hijacked. Because we all experience certain hits, but we don't. But everybody doesn't respond in the best manner to get to show the best version of ourselves. So the goal is to be the best version of yourself. Because while you have external stimuli, you're always going to be affected by something outside of yourself. But the thing is, the question remains: how would you be affected? How do you allow other things to affect you? And how do you respond? It affects you one way, but how do you respond? Then the response is on you. Do you dig in or do you slap them? Do you say nothing? Do you run away or do you fight? Everything builds down to a choice. You have a choice how you respond. Do you respond in love or do you just respond in hate? It's all based on you. So the how this came up is because I am doing it's a 4-part series of the emotional intelligence. But I thought the amygdala was worth going outside the four tenets of the construct. I thought it was worth expounding on the amygdala because so often you have a lot of individuals who just go shell for no reason. And there is a reason. Maybe they had too much caffeine. Maybe they don't have enough rest. But then they put themselves in a state of mind that nobody ever wants to talk to them because they always get upset. It'd be like they become too sensitive. And when everything is not that serious, everything is based on how you respond. So I just thought it was worth going expound on amygdala and giving 2 bits instead of 1, talking about how to prevent and giving 6 pointers, and then do another video. I did another video expounding on the 6 points of it. because a lot of people deal with anxiety as well as depression, which may be another venue I may stretch out into anxiety and depression, which is a big area in mental health that people is a very general diagnosis that a lot of people get that depression and anxiety. Did I answer your question?
Okay, so there will be another part, yes or no?
Yes. So I did the update. The next part will be on social awareness. The first part was on self-awareness.
And what is what is
What's that?
what's social awareness?
Oh, that's next video.
Okay, in the next 5 minutes, give us a sneak peek.
On being aware of things socially. Yeah, that's a sneak peek.
Very
What's that?
okay. Very brief answers.
Yeah. Well, social. I mean, being aware, see if you socially awkward. Being aware of things socially. As I will go more in detail in the video. About 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And then next one talk about. And then the last one talk about relationships. Yep. Any other questions?
That's it.
If you have enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you can be notified when a new episode is posted. So you can rave and review about this episode with your friends. And if you forget anything else from this episode, remember this, that every day you get a vertical, make it your goal in life to move forward and never move back. This is the Hero's Journey with Dr. D. Peace and blessings. And we're out! Hello, journeymen and journeywomen. This is Hero's Journey with Dr. D. Now we're going into the premiere episode. Hello.